Just another day of the Blue Orb Satellite 4 streaming live Earth footage. The feed was simple, reliable, and comforting, while exactly 4:17 a.m. Greenwich time, the impossible happened. The planet vanished. For 2 seconds, the familiar curved horizon was replaced by something that shouldn't exist. Instead of Earth's spherical surface, viewers saw a flat, reflective plane stretching toward darkness. The edge appeared ruler straight, bordered by points of light that resembled city illumination at the brink of an infinite void. No atmosphere, no curvature, just a level surface that terminated in absolute blackness. The feed normalized almost immediately. The comfortable blue marble returned, spinning peacefully as if nothing had occurred. Most viewers dismissed it as a technical glitch, but several had been recording the stream. The footage survived just long enough for analysis before mysteriously disappearing from every platform where it appeared. What made this incident particularly disturbing wasn't just the visual anomaly itself, but the response from Blue Orb Corporation. Within hours, they released a statement claiming the footage had been corrupted by data instability and replaced with corrected imagery. The problem was that Blue Orb 4 operated on a continuous live feed with no backup system. There was nothing to replace. Even more troubling was the sudden appearance of a 12-second delay in the stream, supposedly for data optimization. Previously, the satellite had maintained a 3-second lag behind real-time telemetry. The dramatic increase raised uncomfortable questions about what was happening during those additional 9 seconds. Technical forums began buzzing with speculation about something called a correction program. Anonymous posts suggested that sophisticated filtering software was being applied to the raw satellite data, altering what viewers saw before it reached their screens. The implication was staggering. If true, it meant the Earth we were seeing wasn't the Earth that actually existed. Our second case emerged from an entirely different type of satellite malfunction. In July 1999, before the age of digital streaming, an amateur photographer in Seattle discovered something impossible inside an old camera purchased at a flea market. The Canon contained a partially exposed roll of Kodak film dated April 1988, forgotten for over a decade. When developed, the 36 frames showed Seattle's skyline, but wrong. The photographs depicted suspension bridges that wouldn't be constructed for another 10 years, glass towers that existed only as architectural concepts, and theatres that remained on planning boards. Most unsettling was frame 29, which showed a man in a wheelchair holding a camera identical to the one that had captured the image. The film underwent extensive analysis at university laboratories. Chemical tests confirmed its authenticity. Silver halides, grain structure, and manufacturing markers all indicated legitimate late 80s production. No double exposure, no digital manipulation, no retouching. Someone had actually photographed Seattle's future using decades-old film stock. As the years passed, the impossible predictions materialized with surgical precision. The bridges were built exactly as shown. The glass towers rose in identical locations. Even minor details like street layouts and architectural flourishes matched the photographs perfectly. It was as if the city had followed the images rather than the other way around. The photographer who discovered the film, Michael Barron, spent 20 years documenting the gradual transformation of Seattle into the future he had seen frozen on celluloid. By 2019, every structure in those impossible photographs had become reality. The final frame, showing the man in the wheelchair, proved prophetic when Barron suffered a stroke and began using the same mobility device depicted in his mysterious discovery. Barron passed away in 2022, leaving behind detailed notes about the experience. His archive included the original negatives, technical analysis reports, and a journal tracking each prediction as it came true. Museum experts who examined the collection could offer no explanation for how 20-year-old film had captured images of buildings that wouldn't exist for decades. The case becomes even more disturbing when you consider the implications. If satellite technology existed in 1988 capable of transmitting future imagery to conventional film stock, what other temporal anomalies might our orbital surveillance systems be detecting? Our third case involves a European weather satellite that began transmitting impossible atmospheric data in September 2018. The Meteorwatch 7 had been monitoring cloud formations and storm systems with remarkable accuracy for 3 years when it suddenly started reporting weather events that hadn't occurred yet. The anomaly began subtly. Storm predictions would prove accurate not for the following day, but for exactly 72 hours in the future. Hurricane paths, pressure systems, and precipitation patterns all aligned perfectly with reality, but displaced by 3 days. Meteorologists initially assumed the timestamp coding had malfunctioned, but deeper investigation revealed something far more unsettling. The satellite wasn't predicting future weather, it was observing it directly. Electromagnetic analysis of the transmitted data showed that Meteorwatch 7 was somehow receiving real-time atmospheric information from a timeline 3 days ahead of the present moment. The technical impossibility of this phenomenon prompted immediate classification of all related data. Within weeks, the satellite's weather predictions became so precise that insurance companies and agricultural corporations began paying enormous sums for access to the information. The economic implications were staggering. Perfect weather forecasting 3 days in advance represented a competitive advantage worth billions of dollars. The European Space Agency quietly modified Meteorwatch 7's transmission protocols, introducing artificial delays and randomization algorithms that obscured the temporal displacement. Official reports claimed the satellite had been recalibrated for improved accuracy, but internal documents revealed the truth. The corrections weren't fixing broken equipment, they were concealing evidence that linear time might not function as we understand it. The fourth incident occurred when a Russian surveillance satellite experienced what officials described as a catastrophic navigation error. The Cosmos 2547 had been monitoring Arctic ice formations when it suddenly began transmitting coordinates that placed it thousands of miles from its actual orbital position. Ground control spent hours attempting to re-establish proper telemetry before realizing something impossible was happening. The satellite wasn't lost. It was exactly where it should be. The problem was that its cameras were somehow capturing imagery from a completely different location on Earth. For 6 hours, Cosmos 2547 transmitted crystal clear footage of tropical islands that didn't match any known geography. The land masses appeared lush and populated, with structures that resembled advanced architecture. Most disturbing were the inhabitants, who appeared human, but exhibited behavioral patterns that suggested significant technological or biological differences from known populations. Attempts to identify the mysterious location using geographic databases proved futile. The islands didn't correspond to any charted territory, yet the satellite's technical specifications made it impossible for the cameras to receive signals from beyond their designated orbital range. Russian space officials classified the entire incident and publicly attributed the anomaly to solar interference. The footage from Cosmos 2547 raised questions that challenged basic assumptions about satellite operation and planetary geography. If orbital surveillance systems could somehow observe locations that don't officially exist, what else might they be detecting in the spaces between our maps? These first 4 cases establish a pattern that becomes impossible to ignore as we examine additional incidents. Satellite systems around the world have been capturing data that contradicts our fundamental understanding of time, space, and geography. Each anomaly has been explained away, classified, or deleted, but the evidence continues to accumulate. The implications extend far beyond technical malfunctions or equipment failures. If our orbital surveillance network has been detecting temporal anomalies, impossible geography, and filtered reality, then everything we think we know about Earth itself might be fundamentally wrong. The comfortable assumption that satellites provide objective observation of our planet is crumbling under the weight of evidence that suggests something far stranger is happening in the space above our heads. What makes these incidents particularly disturbing is the coordinated response from government agencies and corporations, the speed with which anomalous data disappears, the introduction of unexplained delays and filters, and the classification of technical documentation all point toward a systematic effort to conceal information that could revolutionize our understanding of reality. As we continue examining these cases, the pattern becomes clear. Our satellites aren't just malfunctioning, they're revealing glimpses of something hidden, something that powerful forces desperately want to keep secret. The question isn't whether these anomalies represent genuine discoveries. The question is what truth they're revealing and why that truth is considered too dangerous for public knowledge. Our fifth case takes us to the Chinese space program, where the Tiangong monitoring station detected something that fundamentally challenged the laws of physics. In November 2020, their orbital observation platform began receiving signals from what appeared to be another version of Earth entirely. The anomaly started when technicians noticed their primary imaging array was simultaneously capturing two distinct sets of planetary data. The first showed the familiar Earth we all know, rotating at its standard 24-hour cycle, with recognizable continents and weather patterns. The second displayed what appeared to be the same planet, but with subtle yet impossible differences. On this alternate Earth, the continental configurations were slightly shifted. Australia appeared roughly 15% larger. The Mediterranean Sea extended further inland, across what should have been parts of southern Europe. Most disturbing was the discovery that this second planet was rotating in the opposite direction, with sunrise occurring in the west. Chinese space officials initially suspected their equipment was receiving reflected signals from another satellite, but comprehensive analysis ruled out that possibility. The electromagnetic signatures were too strong and too consistent to represent mere echoes or interference. Their instruments were somehow detecting two separate planetary bodies occupying the same orbital space. The implications were staggering. If Earth existed in multiple versions simultaneously, it would explain many of the temporal and geographical anomalies detected by other satellite systems. The Tiangong data suggested that our orbital surveillance network might be occasionally glimpsing through dimensional barriers that separate parallel versions of our world. Beijing classified the entire incident within hours of its discovery. Official reports claimed the satellite had experienced temporary signal duplication due to atmospheric interference. But leaked documents revealed that Chinese scientists had continued monitoring the phenomenon for months, documenting dozens of additional variations in planetary configuration. The research team concluded that Earth might exist as what they termed a dimensional intersection, where multiple versions of reality overlap and occasionally bleed through into our observable space. Their findings suggested that satellite technology, operating beyond the protective barrier of our atmosphere, might be uniquely positioned to detect these interdimensional anomalies. Our sixth incident involves the most advanced surveillance satellite ever launched, the classified American project known only as Deep Eye. This billion-dollar system was designed to monitor global communications and detect potential security threats from orbit. What it discovered instead was evidence that reality itself might be artificially constructed. In March 2021, DeepEye began detecting what analysts described as rendering artifacts in the fabric of space around Earth. These anomalies appeared as geometric patterns that resembled the wireframe structures used in computer graphics to build three-dimensional models. The patterns were invisible to conventional observation, but became apparent when viewed through DeepEye's advanced quantum imaging array. The artifacts suggested that portions of Earth's surface were being generated in real time rather than existing as solid matter. Urban areas showed the most pronounced effects, with cities appearing to flicker between different states of construction. Some buildings would phase in and out of existence over periods of several hours, as if being loaded and unloaded from some vast computational system. Most unsettling was the discovery of what appeared to be processing limitations in the rendering system. During periods of high global activity, the artifacts became more pronounced, suggesting that whatever force was generating Earth's surface was struggling to maintain consistency across all regions simultaneously. The DeepEye team documented hundreds of hours of footage showing these reality glitches before their findings were seized by military intelligence. The official explanation claimed that quantum imaging technology was detecting previously unknown electromagnetic phenomena in Earth's magnetosphere. But internal reports revealed that senior analysts believed they had discovered evidence that our entire planet might be an elaborate simulation. The seventh case emerged from an unexpected source: the International Space Station's routine maintenance cameras. These simple systems were never intended for scientific observation, merely to monitor the station's external condition during orbit. In August 2022, they began capturing something that shouldn't exist in the vacuum of space. The anomaly appeared as translucent structures surrounding Earth at various altitudes, visible only under specific lighting conditions. These formations resembled vast geometric frameworks, like the skeleton of some enormous construction project. The structures appeared solid enough to cast shadows on the planet's surface, yet were completely invisible to radar and other detection systems. Astronauts aboard the station reported seeing the structures with their own eyes during certain orbital positions. They described them as crystalline networks that seemed to extend infinitely in all directions, creating a complex lattice around the planet. Some crew members reported feeling disoriented when looking directly at the formations, as if their minds couldn't properly process what they were seeing. NASA initially attributed the sightings to optical illusions caused by ice crystals in the station's water reclamation system. But when similar structures were detected by multiple independent space agencies, the explanation became untenable. The formations were real, massive, and completely beyond our current understanding of physics or engineering. The discovery raised terrifying questions about Earth's true nature. If our planet was surrounded by invisible infrastructure visible only from space, what purpose did these structures serve? Were they natural phenomena beyond our comprehension, or evidence of technology so advanced that its very existence challenged our understanding of what was possible? Our eighth incident involves the European Space Agency's gravity mapping satellite, which detected massive gravitational anomalies that suggested Earth's internal structure was far different from what we believed. The GO-CE satellite had been measuring tiny variations in gravitational field strength to create detailed maps of our planet's interior composition. In December 2021, GO-CE began detecting gravitational signatures that indicated the presence of enormous hollow spaces within Earth's crust. These voids were far too large and too perfectly shaped to represent natural cave systems or geological formations. The gravitational data suggested vast spherical chambers, some measuring hundreds of miles in diameter, distributed throughout the planet's interior. Even more disturbing was the discovery that these hollow spaces appeared to be artificially maintained. The gravitational signatures showed evidence of active systems working to prevent the chambers from collapsing under the immense pressure of surrounding rock. Whatever technology was maintaining these spaces operated on principles completely unknown to human science. The implications were staggering. If Earth contained a vast network of artificial chambers, it suggested that our planet had been extensively modified by forces with capabilities far beyond our current understanding. The hollow spaces could represent anything from ancient construction projects to active installations operated by unknown intelligences. European officials classified the gravitational data and publicly announced that GO-CE had detected previously unknown mineral deposits. But leaked analysis reports revealed that scientists believed they had discovered evidence of planetary engineering on a scale that dwarfed any human construction project. The ninth case brings us to the most recent and perhaps most disturbing incident. In September 2023, the joint American-European Solar Observation Satellite detected something impossible during a routine scan of Earth's magnetosphere. The Solar Dynamics Observatory, recorded what appeared to be artificial modifications to our planet's magnetic field. The anomaly manifested as geometric patterns in the magnetic field lines surrounding Earth. These patterns were too precise and too complex to represent natural phenomena. They resembled circuit diagrams or computational networks, suggesting that our planet's magnetic field was being actively manipulated by some form of technology. Analysis of the patterns revealed that they were constantly changing, adapting to solar wind conditions and cosmic radiation in ways that suggested active intelligence. The magnetic modifications appeared designed to protect Earth from harmful space radiation, while simultaneously creating communication channels that could transmit information across vast distances. The discovery implied that our planet's magnetic field wasn't a natural phenomenon, but rather an artificially maintained defense system operated by unknown intelligences. The technology required to manipulate magnetic fields on a planetary scale exceeded human capabilities by several orders of magnitude. Space agencies on both sides of the Atlantic immediately classified the findings. Official statements claimed that the Solar Dynamics Observatory had detected natural variations in magnetic field strength caused by solar activity, but internal documents revealed that scientists believed they had discovered evidence of active planetary management by forces with technological capabilities that bordered on godlike. Our 10th and final case represents the culmination of everything we've discovered. In January 2024, a coordinated effort by multiple space agencies attempted to simultaneously observe Earth from every possible angle using dozens of satellites, space telescopes, and orbital platforms. The goal was to create the most comprehensive real-time image of our planet ever assembled. What they discovered defied every assumption about the nature of reality itself. When the data from all observation platforms was combined and synchronized, it revealed that Earth was simultaneously existing in multiple states. The planet appeared different depending on which satellite was observing it and from which angle. Some platforms detected the familiar spherical Earth with conventional geography. Others revealed the flat plane with straight edges that had been glimpsed during earlier anomalies. Still others showed configurations that resembled neither, including structures that seemed to exist in more than 3 dimensions. The coordinated observation proved that Earth's appearance wasn't consistent across different viewing platforms. This suggested that reality itself might be observer-dependent, changing based on the type of technology used to perceive it. The implications were so profound that the entire project was immediately classified, and all participating personnel were sworn to secrecy. The accumulated evidence from these 10 cases paints a picture of reality that challenges every fundamental assumption about the nature of our world. Our satellite surveillance network has repeatedly detected anomalies that suggest Earth is far stranger and more complex than we ever imagined. The pattern becomes impossible to ignore when you examine these incidents collectively. Each satellite malfunction reveals the same disturbing truth from a different angle, like pieces of a puzzle that nobody wants to see completed. The evidence suggests that our orbital surveillance network hasn't been malfunctioning at all. Instead, it's been accidentally detecting something that powerful forces desperately want to keep hidden. What makes these revelations particularly unsettling is the coordinated response from government agencies worldwide. Within hours of each incident, official explanations emerge that attribute the anomalies to equipment failure, atmospheric interference, or data corruption. The speed and consistency of these responses suggests a predetermined protocol for handling discoveries that threaten our understanding of reality. But the technical specifications of modern satellite systems make the official explanations impossible to accept. These platforms operate using redundant systems designed to prevent exactly the types of failures being blamed for the anomalies. When a billion-dollar surveillance satellite suddenly detects gravitational signatures indicating hollow chambers inside Earth, calling it a technical glitch insults the intelligence of anyone who understands the technology involved. The classification and deletion of evidence follows a predictable pattern across all cases. Initial reports surface briefly before disappearing from official databases. Witnesses are transferred to different assignments or retire unexpectedly. Research data vanishes from university archives, and backup copies mysteriously become corrupted. The systematic suppression suggests that these discoveries pose a threat to something far more significant than scientific understanding. Consider the implications if these satellite anomalies represent genuine observations rather than equipment failures. The detection of multiple versions of Earth existing simultaneously would revolutionize physics and challenge every assumption about the nature of space and time. The discovery of artificial structures surrounding our planet would raise questions about who or what built them and why their existence remains hidden from ground-based observation. The evidence of temporal displacement captured by weather satellites suggests that linear time might be an illusion maintained for our benefit. If orbital platforms can observe events that haven't happened yet, it implies that past, present and future exist simultaneously in ways that human consciousness isn't equipped to perceive. The gravitational anomalies detected inside Earth indicate that our planet has been extensively modified by forces with technological capabilities that exceed our understanding. The presence of vast hollow chambers maintained by unknown systems suggests that Earth itself might be an artificial construction designed to serve purposes we can't comprehend. Perhaps most disturbing is the evidence that reality might be observer-dependent, changing based on the type of technology used to perceive it. If different satellites detect different versions of Earth simultaneously, it suggests that what we call objective reality might be nothing more than a consensus illusion maintained by limiting our perspective to ground-based observation. The accumulated data points toward a conclusion so radical that accepting it requires abandoning fundamental assumptions about existence itself. Our planet appears to be far more complex and artificial than we've been led to believe. The familiar blue marble spinning peacefully in space might be nothing more than a carefully maintained facade designed to conceal something that would fundamentally alter human understanding if revealed. The satellite systems detecting these anomalies weren't designed to pierce through dimensional barriers or observe temporal displacement. They were built to monitor weather patterns, track communications, and provide routine surveillance. The fact that they're accidentally discovering evidence of planetary engineering and reality manipulation suggests that the truth is so pervasive, it occasionally bleeds through even the most mundane observation systems. What emerges from this analysis is a picture of Earth as something far stranger than a simple rocky planet orbiting an ordinary star. The evidence suggests a world that exists in multiple states simultaneously, surrounded by invisible infrastructure, honeycombed with artificial chambers, and protected by artificially maintained magnetic fields. The familiar geography we see from space might be nothing more than a projection designed to hide the true nature of whatever we're actually living on. The implications extend beyond scientific curiosity into questions of fundamental reality. If our most advanced surveillance technology can only glimpse fragments of truth before being corrected or filtered, what does that say about the nature of human perception and the limits of our understanding? Are we living inside some vast construction project, unaware that everything we consider natural is actually the product of engineering beyond our comprehension? The systematic suppression of this evidence suggests that someone or something considers this knowledge too dangerous for general awareness. The speed with which anomalous data disappears and the coordination of official responses across multiple governments indicates a level of control that transcends national boundaries and political systems. The truth hidden by these satellite malfunctions might be so profound that revealing it would collapse the entire framework of human civilization. If Earth is revealed to be an artificial construction maintained by unknown intelligences, it would raise questions about human origins, our purpose, and our future that no existing institution is equipped to answer. The evidence suggests that we're living in a carefully constructed reality designed to limit our perception and understanding. The satellites detecting these anomalies are accidentally revealing glimpses of the machinery behind the illusion, showing us brief moments when the facade falters and the true nature of our situation becomes visible. Each incident represents a crack in the wall of controlled perception, a moment when the systems maintaining our limited view of reality experience temporary failure. The pattern of detection, suppression, and explanation that follows each discovery suggests that these failures are quickly identified and corrected by forces with the power to alter official records and manipulate global information systems. The 10 cases documented here represent only the incidents that have been detected and partially preserved despite efforts at suppression. How many additional anomalies have been completely erased before anyone could document them? How many satellite operators have observed impossible data only to watch it vanish from their systems before they could report it? The answers to these questions remain hidden behind layers of classification and denial that protect whatever truth our orbital surveillance network has been accidentally revealing. But the evidence that has survived suggests that reality itself might be far more malleable and artificial than we've been conditioned to believe. The satellite malfunctions aren't revealing technical problems with our observation systems. They're revealing fundamental problems with our understanding of what we're actually observing. The comfortable assumption that Earth is a simple planetary body floating in empty space is crumbling under the weight of evidence that suggests something far more complex and deliberately concealed. As our technology becomes more sophisticated and our surveillance capabilities expand, these accidental revelations are likely to become more frequent and more difficult to suppress. The truth about Earth's real nature might be approaching a tipping point where it becomes impossible to hide, regardless of how many official explanations are offered or how much evidence disappears from public records. The satellite anomalies documented in these 10 cases represent just the beginning of what might be the most significant discovery in human history. The question isn't whether these observations represent genuine revelations about the nature of reality. The question is whether humanity is ready to confront the implications of what our orbital surveillance network has been accidentally detecting in the space above our heads. The evidence we've uncovered forces us to confront an uncomfortable reality about the nature of human knowledge and the systems designed to protect us from certain truths. Every satellite malfunction we've examined follows the same disturbing pattern: detection, documentation, classification, and deletion. The speed with which these responses occur suggests a level of preparation that goes beyond standard government protocols. What's particularly unsettling is how the suppression operates across international boundaries. When the Chinese Tiangong station detected dual planetary signals, the classification response came within hours. When European gravity mapping satellites found evidence of hollow chambers inside Earth, the data vanished from multiple databases simultaneously. This level of coordination implies a global network dedicated to concealing specific types of information. The technical specifications of these incidents make conventional explanations impossible to accept. Modern satellites operate using redundant systems specifically designed to prevent the types of failures being blamed for these anomalies. When a billion-dollar quantum imaging array detects geometric patterns in the fabric of space itself, attributing it to equipment, malfunction insults anyone who understands the technology involved. But perhaps the most disturbing aspect isn't what these satellites detected. It's what happened to the people who detected it. Personnel involved in these incidents have experienced a pattern of career disruptions that defies statistical probability. Transfers to remote assignments, early retirements, and sudden departures from the space industry occur with suspicious frequency among those who witness the anomalous data firsthand. The accumulated evidence suggests that our orbital surveillance network has been accidentally penetrating layers of reality that were never intended for human observation. These systems, designed to monitor weather patterns and track communications, have stumbled into detection capabilities that reveal the artificial nature of our perceived environment, Consider the implications if Earth truly exists in multiple states simultaneously. Traditional physics assumes that matter occupies specific locations in space and time. But if different satellites can observe different versions of our planet from the same orbital positions, it suggests that reality itself might be far more fluid than we've been taught to believe. The discovery of temporal displacement in weather satellite data raises equally profound questions about the nature of time. If orbital platforms can observe atmospheric conditions 3 days before they occur on the surface, it implies that past, present, and future exist as accessible locations rather than sequential progression. The implications for human understanding of causality and free will become staggering. The gravitational anomalies detected inside Earth present perhaps the most concrete evidence of planetary engineering. Hollow chambers hundreds of miles in diameter, maintained by unknown technology, suggest that our planet has been extensively modified for purposes we can't comprehend. The energy requirements for maintaining such structures would exceed the total output of human civilization by several orders of magnitude. These discoveries collectively point toward a conclusion so radical that accepting it requires abandoning fundamental assumptions about reality itself. Earth appears to be an artificial construction designed to maintain the illusion of a natural planetary environment while concealing something far more complex underneath. The systematic suppression of this evidence suggests that revealing the truth would pose an existential threat to human civilization as we know it. If people understood that their familiar world was actually an elaborate facade maintained by unknown intelligences, the psychological and social consequences would be catastrophic. The satellite malfunctions represent cracks in a carefully maintained illusion, moments when the systems controlling our perception experience temporary failure. Each incident provides a glimpse behind the curtain of constructed reality before being quickly identified and corrected by forces with the power to alter official records and manipulate global information networks. What makes these revelations particularly terrifying is their accidental nature. These discoveries weren't the result of deliberate investigation into hidden truths. They emerged from routine satellite operations designed to monitor conventional phenomena. If our most mundane observation systems are accidentally detecting evidence of planetary engineering and reality manipulation, the true scope of what's being concealed must be staggering. The next time you pull up that comforting live Earth feed, remember that what you're seeing might not be what's actually there. These 10 satellite anomalies represent just the documented cases that survived the systematic suppression efforts. How many more revelations have been erased before anyone could preserve them? The evidence suggests our orbital surveillance network hasn't been malfunctioning at all. It's been accidentally detecting glimpses of something so profound that revealing it would shatter every assumption about the nature of existence itself. The question isn't whether these discoveries represent genuine observations of hidden reality. The question is whether humanity is prepared to confront the truth about what we're actually living on when the filters fail and the real Earth shows through.